Hello everyone, I hope you're having lots of fun with Pokemon Legends Arceus because I know I am. Kayla, you've been having lots of fun with it too, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's so amazing. I just finished the post-game of it, and oh my gosh, I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but it was so good.
And someone else has already gotten to the post-game too, right? Who was that?
It's Dusty Go-Goat. I actually have the game open in front of me right now. I cannot put it down.
Dusty, we're supposed to be talking here and you're playing at the same time?
What can I tell you? I haven't even made a video for the channel.
Veteran X, where are you in the game?
I just finished getting Ursaluna unlocked and I evolved an Alpha Ursa ring into it, and I am currently in the distortion zone, and I am playing while recording as well, just like Dusty.
You guys are too much. Why?
You're lucky that we're here.
Honestly, I am. We're lucky I'm here because I almost canceled this podcast just to play more.
Oh man,
it feels good to finally have a Pokemon experience on the go. That's really good. A really good Pokemon experience.
Right. It's a good Pokemon experience to have on the go. That's the important part. We're going to be talking today about our experiences with the game so far, and it's going to be spoiler free, of course. And I want to start us off by talking about our teams. For me, I was switching out my team a lot, so I probably am not the best person to talk about this first. I'm actually more interested in hearing you guys talk about your teams that you had for the game. So let's start with Dusty Go-Goat.
Well, actually, Johnny, I want to ask you first. Who was your starter? I mean, we can all say that, right?
Oh, sure, yeah. My starter was Oshawott, and I have not evolved him. He's level 72 at the time of this recording.
That's amazing.
He is
cool.
Asset.
That's dedication.
He is an asset. I just raised all his effort values because apparently that's the thing you can do. I didn't find out till after I beat the game. But before I even did that, he helped me catch a legendary Pokemon, which was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who did everyone else pick? I picked Cyndaquil.
Same here. Team Cyndaquil, baby.
Okay, there we go. No Rowlet fans in here.
Wait.
Well, no. I am a Rowlet fan. I'm just not a fan of his Hisuian evolution.
I like the Hisuian evolution.
I do too.
I haven't seen it.
I don't even like Rowlet, but I really like this new Decidueye.
Yeah.
Johnny, how many forms have you seen? Have you seen all the new Pokemon?
You know, I haven't, or at least I don't think I have. I haven't seen all the starter evolutions. I haven't even seen my own starter's evolution, because I'm probably not going to unless I can catch another one somehow.
What a fun way to play through the game.
Yeah, it's fun for me anyway, but the beauty of the game is that you can play it in all these different ways.
Exactly.
But I'm curious, so all three of you picked Cyndaquil?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I love the typing of Fire and Ghost. That's like my second favorite typing behind Volcaronis with Fire and Bug.
Fire and Ghost? Where's the Ghost come from? What?
That's
man. Johnny, you have to play through the game 2 more times.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Distortion World.
Yeah, you can find the starters in distortion things.
Oh, I need to do that more then.
yeah, buddy.
I also wanted to point out I love Rowlet.
Yeah, me too. Rowlet. I love Rowlet too. I just it has to grow on me. His Hisuian evolution. That's all.
I haven't seen it, so
I love it to swing form. I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm warming up to a lot of the designs that I first saw in the leaked photos. Now that I've been able to play with all these new Pokemon, I'm actually enjoying most of them.
Yeah, I don't think I've encountered a Pokemon that I don't like at all. Seriously.
Yeah, me
They did
neither.
a great job.
I think
Except
I might
maybe
have one.
Paris. Paris keeps hunting us all down.
Yes,
God, Paris
everywhere.
is a sniper. What the heck?
Yes.
Have you seen the meme where it's like, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, I can't even.
It's like they make it as vicious as possible.
Yeah, there's like an ocean crab, and that's Paris.
So I'm glad I'm not the only one who had that sort of run-in with Paris in the game, because I could have sworn I was the only one getting annoyed with them.
Oh no. Paris and Krogunk. Krogunk is another sniper as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The bane of my existence in that area.
Oh,
I've been
yes.
having so much fun. Maybe this is for a different segment, but I've been having so much fun. You keep saying sniping. Sniping these alpha Pokemon from behind, trying to shot them, catch them in a single Pokeball.
Oh my
It's been a lot of
gosh.
fun.
So many fun stories with the alphas. Speaking of which, I would like for us to each talk about our at least one very unique and cool experience we've had with the game so far. Like something that's your own, a story to tell I guess I'll start us off just to give an example of what I mean by this. But every single one of us here has to have a story like this. There's no way we don't, because the game is just that unique and just varied. So something that happened with me was I caught this alpha Magikarp. I don't think I was supposed to catch it so early in the game, because like I caught it off the side of a cliff to where I obviously wasn't supposed to be, and it was out in the water, and I managed to hit it from pretty far away, and it stayed in the ball somehow. And I had like level like 10 to 15 at the time Pokemon, something like that, but this was like a level 55 Magikarp that I somehow got to stay in a Pokeball. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this asset on my team. And I try to use it, and it's like not obeying me, right?
Yep.
And I was just like, okay, so I can't really use it, but I really want to see how big Alpha Gyarados is. So I evolved it into an Alpha Gyarados, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I forgot to take it off my team, so I'm like going around the region and fighting, and then I like throw out my Alpha Gyarados, and I'm like, go Alpha Gyarados, attack! And it's like Alpha Gyarados is loafing around. Or Alpha Gyarados is ignoring you.
That's so much fun. That's just like the
Ash's
anime.
Charizard.
Exactly. So I compared him to Ash's Charizard, and I was like, dang, you're not listening to me. So I go back to the town, and there's these farmers who are like, can you help us by giving us a water Pokemon to help farm these fields? Yes. And I was like, you know what? This Pokemon is not listening to me, but it would do really great with them. It'll listen to them, and it'll farm up this land in no time. And I give him to the farmers, and they actually, first of all, they acknowledge that it was an alpha Pokemon. They're like, whoa, you're giving me an alpha Pokemon? That's cool. That's crazy. Nice. Yeah. Oh, wow. And so then they like do some dialogue of how he's like really helping them farm up the fields. And so then I leave the Gyarados there, and you can actually see him in the overworld. He stays over there by the farm, because when you give NPCs Pokemon for side quests, they keep them out in the open with them.
Yep, even if they're shiny too.
Yep.
I didn't learn about that until like the post game, and then I somehow discovered that there is a garden, and that's been fun to do every day.
Oh man, that is cool. So I've just now started using the farm, but I gave them this Pokemon way early on, and I've been seeing it throughout my entire playthrough, and then I finally got to a level where I could control it, and I go back and I'm like, okay, are you gonna listen to me now? And I read the dialogue, and it says that Gyarados has been working hard, putting his heart and soul into farming the fields. And I'm like, maybe you're a changed Pokemon now. And I take him onto my team, and he can obey me now. And now he's a very valuable asset for me on my team.
That's awesome.
It was literally...
That is beautiful, man. You can't carve an experience like that in any other Pokemon game.
Not at all.
That is beautiful. What the hell? That is great.
I agree. So you guys have to have stories like, you know, that are just completely unique to you like this. So I'm gonna start with which one of you actually wants to volunteer first, in case the others have to think about this a little bit.
I've got some stuff.
I knew you would. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's hear it.
All right, so I don't have any like specific, I guess like I haven't really built a story around these different moments, but like I said, I have been sniping these alpha Pokemon, and it's been a lot of fun to sneak up on some of the goofier alpha Pokemon. One of my favorites was this alpha Togepi, and I'd throw my smoke ball down, I'd creep up on it with a heavy ball, and maybe a dozen times right before I was able to capture it, it would turn around after eating the berry and just like use outrage or whatever that like shout move is that it uses, and that's been a lot of fun to conquer. I finally did get that Togepi after soft resetting a few times.
I need to get a Togepi because I still have not found one, and that's one of my favorite Pokemon, if not my top favorite Pokemon.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm trying to. That's really most of what I've been doing. I've been shiny hunting, and then as I go through the region checking for things, I also get all of my all my materials, and then I also just try to get new footage for. I want to make like a highlight reel, like a Call of Duty highlight reel, but for in this game with capturing alphas.
So. It seems like the way that you play is very focused on catching Pokemon who are unique in some way. So like shinies and alphas, is that like what intrigues you most?
Yeah. I think what I really am just caught up in the cycle of discovery. Like, it's been a lot of fun to, and then there's like side missions in Jubilife that I keep going back to. I haven't not touched a lot of the side quests. And this is, I don't know if you want to get into this now, but for me, I've actually found not the plot, but I actually have found the story of this game quite boring, and that might be my fault, because maybe I don't like to read, and I would prefer that it'd be a little bit more immersive with some voice acting. I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm having a ton of fun with this game, but I have found myself kind of speeding through the dialogue to get back to the gameplay. And I put in 20 hours since rolling the credits. I've put in about 20 hours on stream, just like I said, shiny hunting, collecting materials, catching funny Pokemon, catching cool Pokemon, changing my team around, naming things. I think every single Pokemon in this game, every single wild Pokemon truly has that unique characteristic that makes me want to just like go back and catch more of them. They don't even need to be alpha Pokemon. Like, I just got a shiny Yanma. I'm so glad that it's one of the smaller variants, because I just feel like that matches Yanma way better.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If I see a Pokemon that I like every Sneasel I catch, every Sneasel I see I catch.
Yeah, me too. And like all the forms, all of it. I'm trying to get a male of the Hisuian form.
That's cool. Yeah.
I ran into one and I lost it. I was so sad because they're very rare, very rare. But yeah, so what I was gonna say is it's like that's part of the magic of the game, though, is that there's all these different ways to play it, and we each have our different ways that we want to play it, and that's really cool that we can do that in this game. It caters to all of us in different ways.
And I like, as a person who does shiny hunt, you know, the reward has always been there, and that's the incentivization to just keep resetting or hatching eggs or wild encountering. And this game has made that experience actually fun rather than a passive experience, which is so great. And I'm having fun watching streamers shiny hunt. I'm having fun shiny hunting myself, but no longer, I mean, if this is the future of Pokemon, and if this is indicative of what we're going to actually see in the future, no longer is shiny hunting, or I guess no longer are Pokemon games a thing you do while watching a movie.
Yeah. I was thinking that too. I mean, you can kind of do it, but like you have to be careful of not being attacked in the overworld. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's my college experience. Just grinding levels and shiny hunting and watching True Detective and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's me too. I play while watching stuff. I have a lot of fond memories doing that.
I'd love to hear if you know, veteran Kayla. I'd love to hear anything else that you guys have been doing.
Please.
Yes. Yeah, so one of the coolest things that I noticed is that so I was just randomly going around just catching some Pokemon, and I was digging around with Ursaluna as well, and one of my Pokemon got very low in HP, my level 16 Turtwig, and you know, I wanted to bring all my Pokemon out just to get a quick photo to post to YouTube or something of the whole team. And so I get everybody out and I go over to Turtwig. His HP is in red, and I go to throw him out and he has stars above his head like he's about to get knocked out. And I was like, I didn't know that, like, if your Pokemon's HP is low, like, they'll start, like, feeling woozy, and they'll just go back into the Pokeball. And that little touch just put the biggest smile on my face. I'm like, Game Freak really threw all the details into this game, and I love it.
Yeah, I just realized that last night. I tried to do that with my Arcanine. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Yeah, that's awesome. It made me smile.
I've seen that as well. It's like really good detail. There's a lot of actually really good details with throwing the Pokemon out. I'm actually going to make a guide about how it works throwing them out constantly.
Oh, that'll be great. That'll be really great to watch.
Yeah, there's like small details I'm still discovering. It's really crazy, actually.
Do they vary? Like,
there's different there's different things that happen depending on what you do in different scenarios.
Is it the status effects, or like is it the time of day?
That's one of them.
Yeah, time of day is definitely one of them.
Is that why they fall asleep?
Not always, but they.
Is that why all my Pokemon were all falling asleep on me when I was trying to take a picture with them all?
You're like, wake up, and you keep trying to talk to them.
Wake up, and then they fall asleep, so I'm like running in a circle, waking them up, and then trying to be like, all right, pose.
Speaking of, Kayla, I want to hear a unique story from you as well.
Yeah, so for me, one of the crazy things for this game for me is that since there is no, like, battles between, like, real life people in this game, like, you can't battle other people, it's kind of, like, giving me the chance to take a breather from, like, thinking about Pokemon in a very competitive sense. And so it was kind of nice because I like had the freedom to just kind of like, usually I plan my teams and I either like set it up for some sort of challenge or like I get ready for competitive while I'm playing or, you know, those kind of things. But like this time I felt like I could just kind of play and then whatever Pokemon kind of like struck my fancy, I could like add to my team. And so like one thing that like illustrated that was my starter. I was streaming and I had my starter and I was like, okay, like this is my starter. I don't know what I want to nickname it. Let me know what you guys think. And somebody in the comments was like, well, whoa, your starter is like really bad. Like the stats are so bad. The nature is bad. Like, yeah, that's one of the worst starters I've ever seen. And then somebody was like, you should name it Backfire because it's going to backfire on you with all those bad stats. And because
that is a good name.
It's a Cyndaquil, you know, like, so at first I was like, oh, that's kind of mean. I don't know if I want to name it Backfire. Like, I feel bad for it. But then I ended up going with it. And to make up for it, every single time that I had like the stat increasing items, like the grit and the stones and all of that, Backfire was always the first one that got it so that I could make it feel better about itself, you know? Like, I was like, oh, this one's got like low self-esteem because of all that it's been through. I'm like, I gotta help it out. So like now it has like almost all maxed out stats and everything. And it's tough now. Nobody could say that it's gonna backfire on me.
I love that. Kayla, I'm so glad you brought that up because that was something I was actually thinking about yesterday. And like I'm playing through this game realizing that like I don't know if it's just so like in all of my history, right? Like I've just grown up knowing the battle system of Pokemon. And that's not because like that's not like a compliment to me. That's just like the system hasn't changed really at all. So it's just like the knowledge compounds. And with this game being so different, with the battle mechanics being so different, and then also because battling is not central to the game, I've been able to just like train whatever I want purely for aesthetic. I haven't evolved my Ponyta. I haven't evolved my Basculin. I want to evolve the Basculin. I don't know how to. And I haven't evolved my Sneasel either. And it's really rewarding to be able to use Pokemon for like and not evolve them. I think that's been a huge thing for me.
Same. I don't evolve a lot of mine.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to though for some research tasks. So I need to just like catch some burner Pokemon to do that with.
That's true. Yeah. And then it is. I mean, I don't know. For me, when I think of Pokemon, like I do think of the anime that I grew up watching when I was younger. And like it is nice the thought of having a team of Pokemon of all different stages of evolution, right? Mm-hmm. They're not all these big monsters. You got a big one, right? That's my Ursaluna, and then I got some of the smaller ones, my Cleavors and Alpha. You know, like it's really fun. You can take them all out of the Pokeball. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, they really encourage being able to have as varied of a team as you want this time around, especially with the effort value system. Because, you know, Eevee and Ivy's I think were taken out. So, like, Pokemon don't have individual stats anymore. It's, like, streamlined based on what the Pokemon is. So, like, if you have an Oshawott and then someone else has an Oshawott, they'll have the same exact stats, but those can be manipulated by putting more of the effort values artificially into the Pokemon. With the dust, or what's it called? Grit dust?
Okay.
Grit
Yeah, there's the grit dust and grit rocks and all those, but there's also the natures will affect it too. But you can change the nature using mints, which you can get at the farm.
Oh, there are mints.
That's right.
Yeah, you can farm them. I've been farming them like in the town, you know?
Yeah, you know that farm that we just discovered, Dusty? Yeah, that one.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I knew right away. I was like, this is where we're gonna get mints probably. I gotta up this so that I can get those.
So the Ginkgo, what is it? The Ginkgo gang? What is it called?
Ginkgo Guild.
The Ginkgo
gang.
the
Ginkgo gang.
The Ginkgo guilds had the Ginkgo guilds. They were selling some sort of like mechanical till for the. I didn't know what it was for, and then I found out about the guard. I did.
Yes, good.
Does it help out? Do I see it anywhere?
It will be in your room, and a certain Pokemon might enjoy it very much.
What?
What's in my room?
A mechanical
Yes.
till?
Yes.
Do I need to go
There's
talk to the
a
Ginkgo
bunch
Guild?
of things.
You
Yeah,
need to always talk to that guy because he will eventually sell you things. They'll be expensive, but a certain Pokemon will like them very much. They'll
And
be in
maybe-
your room.
It's only
And
one
Volo
thing
might-
though?
Huh?
Only one thing
No,
though?
I think there's 5 different things, I'm pretty sure, because I'm pretty sure this Pokemon will like 5 different... I don't know how to say this.
Oh,
I
it's
know
the
who
same,
you're talking about.
but it's the same Pokemon. Interesting.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
I think I know who
It
you're
is.
talking about.
I think,
Okay,
yeah, I think I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about too.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
let
this
me
is
go
a-
talk to him right now because I'm playing the game.
Oh, yeah. Hold
My
on.
friend is like...
I need to get mine open and go talk to him too.
Yeah.
Dang. Now I feel like
He
I've been
doesn't
missing out the
always
entire
have
time.
It's another thing. Like I mean, I was not on a media out. What do you call it? Media blackout. Like I looked at all the leaks. You guys know this. But I have not really gone. I went to Cerebi a couple times, but I'm really not looking at as much information as I normally would with any other playthrough, and that has kept the experience really fresh for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not
Like I
really...
didn't know what those things are.
I'm not looking at stuff like that. I'm literally just playing and like trying to do everything.
Right.
That's cool.
And I knew like if there's a guy who's like selling us random items, like eventually there's gonna be something really cool. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's gonna be something like really weird and really cool and potentially really important. So I'm like, I'm just gonna buy everything. I'm like, I'm buying all his random stuff that's awful. Like I'm like, okay, you're selling cake today. I don't care. I'm buying.
I've been ignoring him. I feel so bad now. Dang.
Wait,
now I
He's
have to
just
go.
been sitting there watching you run by, just
Yeah.
like crying.
And then Volo keeps calling me like one of his prized customers of the Ginkgo Guild, and I'm like, are you being facetious? Because I literally haven't bought a single thing from you guys.
He's trying to guilt you into buying something.
I mean, he's also been hitting on me the entire time, so there's that too.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I heard you have a second date with him.
Oh my goodness, my character and Volo, they've been mingling, intermingling, and like there's another character who apparently so, like Kayla tells me that Volo's probably gonna get with this character, but I'm like,
I'm pretty sure he's taken.
no, at the very least,
at least loosely taken.
Yeah, I don't
loosely.
really trust him.
So
he seems
they'll
like
probably make the baby
highly
together.
flexible.
They'll have
Okay.
Cynthia, but I think what's gonna happen is there's a polyamorous relationship between my character Volo and the person Volo will make the babies with.
Yo, this
I
is the
can't-
kind of lore we need in the Pokemon community. This is so good.
Exactly.
I'm so excited for you guys to finish the whole game so that we can talk about it because oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can't even. I can't.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
the
just-
end got really crazy, so I can only imagine the post game because I heard the post game's even more crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
That's something I'll probably check out tomorrow. I just discovered I can go in the houses within Jubilife.
You
I
didn't know
could go-
Yeah. You didn't know that, Dusty?
I was looking for my hut. I never go back to my hut, and I just found out. Like I'm talking to Sia. You may be able to heal your Pokemon with the potion anytime. That's useful. I would have wanted to know that on Friday.
oh my goodness, I saw someone make a Twitter tweet saying that like they played through the entire campaign without knowing they could craft from their bag. So the
yeah.
entire time they've been crafting from the stations instead
Wait,
of their
you
bag.
can do that from the bag?
Oh my
They
goodness.
give us an item for it.
We funny guy over here, really?
Wait, are you serious?
No way.
You didn't know that?
Hold on.
Okay,
No,
well
I'm
Dusty
thinking
didn't know he
about
could
right
go in
now.
the houses, so I mean,
This is
So-
useless.
so
I'm exploring
she
the
didn't know
world.
about the houses. I didn't know about crafting. What about
Oh my
you?
goodness.
I
Johnny?
didn't
What did you
know about
What
the
about you?
farming until recently, and the Ginkgo Guild. So
Next thing you're gonna tell me this my character is a time traveler.
wait a
Not
second.
just a time traveler, a time and space traveler. You're from a
Wait
different
a
universe.
second.
Yep.
I'm from the Pearl Clan.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
The
goodness.
Pokemon cinematic universe. Let's go.
Kayla, there
Yeah.
had to be something you didn't know.
I
She's
don't.
like, I
I just know everything because I'm
Legend
perfect.
Arceus. I know
I
everything.
I didn't know that Drapion Shiny would be so disappointing.
Yeah.
Oh.
I wish I didn't evolve it.
Oh,
I made
yeah.
Is
a
it like
horrible
this? Is it like the
mistake.
same color palette?
Yup.
Almost
Yes.
kind of like
It's like a gross.
Garchomp syndrome.
What is it like? It's like an off purple or a pink.
Yeah, it's just slightly pinker than the regular, but the like it's evolution like before that. It's like red. It's so cool.
Man, yeah. I don't like when they do that with Pokemon unless it looks much nicer. Like Articuno, I think has like a slightly off color, but it's really pretty.
Yeah.
Like that's okay, but the rest typically not. So. Well, let's go ahead and just real quick, hopefully we don't spiral out of control too much with this, and by that I mean we probably will. Let's just talk about how good it feels, the gameplay loop of just catching and surveying the Pokemon and building your team and all. Like, how's that been for you guys? I find it very satisfying, and it's really made me inclined to change out my team a lot.
I definitely want to lead off with this one. So, the gameplay loop is so darn rewarding and it's engaging. Like I never thought I would have so much fun catching the same Pokemon over and over and over again. It is so freaking great. And then the Pokédex, you get incentives for catching the same Pokemon, and you get surveying them doing different things, and then you get money off of that, and then you use that to buy customization options, new items, crafting items, and I love that loop so much. And I feel like Game Freak did a really great job in that regard. And I feel happy saying that because I haven't given Game Freak this much praise in it feels like a decade, and I'm like smiling like a freaking 10-year-old on the inside, like how fun it is to just capture Pokemon. And then I really like that you don't have to focus too much on trainer battles. We mentioned that before. It's mainly all about capturing them and then you building that bond with your team. And I don't think I ever felt like that before in the Pokemon game. I will catch them. I try to max out their stats so I can make a physical sweeper for like competitive and PvP. But within Legends Arceus, like I don't want to involve some of my Pokemon. I want to keep the little guy. I want to keep this guy to be tiny. He can fit in my pocket and just keep him adorable. And I built like real bonds with my Pokemon, and me as a almost 30-year-old saying that, I feel happy saying that so much. And this Game Freak is, I mean, not just Game Freak, but this gameplay loop is very refreshing, and I want to see more of this. I can't complain. I really can't.
I'm with you. I haven't felt this close to my Pokemon since I was little, playing like Crystal version or Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which were like the closest I think the games have ever gotten to this was Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and now we're finally in here on a whole nother level of interactivity and personal experience with our Pokemon, you know?
And Johnny, you brought up interactivity. I really, really like that you can use your Pokemon to like attack like those resource deposits, and you can get the materials from them. I really love that touch.
Me too. You get to see them constantly because of that.
And you get EXP from it.
They get a little bit. Yeah, you're right.
So I'll catch a new Pokemon, and it might be too weak to like. I got a shiny Wurmple. It's too weak to battle with, right? But what was really fun is that whole day that I was playing, I could use it to break rocks, get apricorns from trees, you know, whatever it might be. And because of that, it's like always, I'm like ready with the quick draw.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing with my Turtwig that I just recently caught. And how cool is it that you can just, how seamless it is with the rideable Pokemon. You can switch them on the fly, and then when you gather resources, you get off your Pokemon, you throw like 1 or 2 Pokemon out, get your resources, get back on the rideable Pokemon, and keep going. I love it.
What about catching multiple Pokemon at once?
Because, oh my gosh,
when there's those mass outbreaks, I'm breaking out the wing balls, I'm crouching in grass like super far away, and I'm just chucking those wing balls and like catching like 10 at once. You know what I mean? Like all of them.
You just keep hearing the fireworks.
Yes.
The American sniper. You love it.
Especially when it's like the ones that are like, they have like the exclamation point above their head. They're like, wait, did somebody near me get caught? And then immediately they're caught.
Yes. Too good. Oh, I love how the Pokemon react to other Pokemon getting caught. I've noticed that several times. It's so cool. I have some videos of it. It's really funny, actually.
If you throw a Pokeball near them and you miss, they react to that too.
Yes.
Yeah. They get mad at you, or they run.
Yeah, they're like, wait, what?
Or they run.
It's funny. Even in battle, they'll look at you. So, like, if you're facing off an Alpha Pokemon, it has those red eyes in that moment.
That stare down.
Yeah, and right after it defeats, you know, your starter, you return it to its ball. And it looks right at you, looks right at the camera.
That's so scary.
Okay, it's coming for me next. It's waiting for me to make a decision.
Another thing Oh, go ahead, Beth.
Oh, I was about to say an Alpha Rapidash did that to me, and I immediately ran away from the battle.
It's scary.
But you can run away.
Yeah.
Yes. Rapidash runs so fast, though. Oh, scary running away from that.
Yikes. What I was gonna say is, here, let me just say this real quick, and then
go ahead.
One thing I really like to do too is like get a bunch of Pokemon to spot me, and then have them all converge on me. Just go in the center, look down, and just throw my Pokeball on the ground. And then next thing you know, I'm fighting all these Pokemon at once with my little Oshawott or something.
Yeah, the horde battles are so cool.
That's like in GTA where you get in trouble on purpose just to like have the chase scene.
Yep.
Yeah, with the police.
Just to be epic.
You're like,
What was your question though about the alphas?
Something I was thinking about is it was a little. I was trying to be a little controversial, but like I think like what do we think about alpha Pokemon? Because I feel like there are some Pokemon that don't look as good when they're in their alpha form.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I think Rapidash is one of those. I don't know, just like a giant horse.
It's too big, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some that look a little freaky.
Probably like it. I'm sure there's people have different preferences.
Yeah, like I know someone who is really into a giant Bidoof. And like, that's
Funny.
totally. I would never,
appeal.
but I can totally see why you would
I
love
would
that. I'm scared to see what an alpha Togepi looks like. I don't want to see that.
It's cute. It's cute. I'll send you a video.
Is it too big though? I feel like it'd be too.
It's not. It's not.
Okay,
it's like
good.
the size of a dog.
Okay, good. That's not too bad.
I saw a picture of somebody with a shiny alpha Heracross.
Yes, I saw that on Twitter.
Yeah, so like the alphas can be shiny too.
Yeah, of course.
So
I can't
crazy.
wait for that to one day happen to me in 2025.
In 2025. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, I think that pretty much sums up how we feel about how good it feels to play the game. So the next thing is how good it feels to look at the game. Let's talk about.
Is this a graphics topic?
Let's talk about graphics, Ben.
Ooh.
If you want to lead us in on it, go right ahead.
You want me to lead the graphics topic?
Go ahead. Yeah, I'm curious. Actually, I don't know what your thoughts are.
Oh man, for all the praise that Legends Arceus has, and it's well deserving of it, I gotta say the graphics are very subpar for a AAA video game, and I do think the gameplay makes up for it. But with me, I play a crap ton of video games. So when I come back to see, what Game Freak is doing with their latest attempt, it's a little underwhelming for me. The game looks much better in handheld mode, I will say that. But if I'm playing it like on my television or my laptop, it doesn't look the best. And I don't know how Game Freak can fix that with the graphics. I'm not sure how that can be done. But
I have
it's
answers.
Yeah. Well, get help for money. Well, let's say money, get help. Just get another studio.
Oh no, they don't need more. They do not need more money.
Right. And yeah, the graphics, like I tried to sell this game to like one of my buddies who plays video games too, and he's like, "Nah, man, it looks like crap." I'm like, "Bro, but." Normally, I wouldn't say this about a video game, but I'm like, the graphics kind of don't matter in this game. The gameplay itself more than makes up for it. And he's a fan of Pokemon too. Yeah. So maybe I could find some way to like convince him. Yeah.
I
can agree.
Podcast.
I can agree.
Yeah, let's get him on. Yeah.
I just.
I just got one more thing. And just one more thing. And some people say, I don't play Pokemon for the graphics, and I'm like that. But that's not an excuse, is it? It's like I don't want to excuse the bad graphics. Why can't we have great gameplay and great graphics as well?
We could.
I mean, that's something that I do personally say that I like. That's just me covering my butt because I think it's like I want to enjoy this game and I not this game, but like I want to enjoy all Pokemon games because I do enjoy them, and I think it can be just to defend all those people out there who also say the same thing. It's really just like I'm defending the thing I like, right? It's like someone's criticizing you, you're like, well, that's not you make an excuse.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I like
a personal attack.
But we love Pokemon, but we can still admit its flaws. That's
exactly
the difference,
right.
I think.
That's the beauty in it.
And you know me, I was one of the most avid voices against Sword and Shield. And it's visual. It's just on its visuals. The game was fun otherwise. But when it comes to Legends, well, for one, I actually thought Legends looked better on the TV than on handheld. I don't know. Maybe it's my TV. Or I don't know.
You live in a 2030 TV.
Maybe it's because I don't have that OLED.
Oh yeah, I have an OLED. But I have an OLED handheld and I have an OLED TV.
Oh,
So I bet you got the curved TV too, don't you?
No, it's not. It's not curved. No, it's not curved. Although that sounds fun too.
He's got the 3D glasses on.
Right. He's like, everything looks good on this TV.
However, the game does have sour spots on its visuals. You know, it's you can't deny that at all.
Right.
You can't deny when you see a Pokemon far away going at like less than 2 frames a second.
Bro, that's how that Gyarados did in the air.
Pokemon.
Yeah, the Gyarados in the air was a big one that you can think of right away.
Staraptor.
And Staraptor as well. And then there's also a few other hiccups in the visuals when it comes to... There's some random ones that I saw. Like, there's like this weird flickering at nighttime.
Yeah, there's when you go on water, like specifically on the coast. So like, it's not when you're completely over water, but when you're on the coastline anywhere in the entire game. And this is especially bad in it's
literally the coastlands.
Spoilers.
Well, there's the coastlands and the there's something else.
There's a place I can't. Well, you'll know about it because you've beaten the game. But there's certain places that you can go to that involve water that are really, really bad. Like, you have like a white line around your trainer and there's like black dots around it. It's just so weird.
No, I noticed that too. I wasn't sure if it was my TV or my computer monitor. I have seen that. It's like, yeah.
I think it's something to do with that aliasing stuff you talked about.
I think so.
I'm about to say, because I haven't got to the part where I can surf on water yet, but it sounds like with the coastline and the water, it sounds like the land is clipping through the water as the waves keep moving or something like that, and it's causing like some visual fidelity issues, and that's just optimization on Game Freak's part. They have to fix that. Or hopefully they can.
So from the flickering that I've seen, I don't think it has to do with the anti-aliasing. I think it has to do more with the lighting engine. It seems to happen when you have the camera pointed forward or down. It doesn't happen when you look up. So I think it has something to do with how the lighting goes through certain environments like trees and stuff. And it does this, what the way the lighting engine works, I guess it makes a filter go over the screen when it wants darker lighting versus when it wants lighter lighting. So if it's like hitting weird through a tree, it flops between the two filters instead of like having an actual dynamic lighting situation go on your character. So it like changes your entire screen's filter rather than what the light would do if it just hit your character in a different way or if it hit the camera in a different way. It's really weird, and I think that's what's causing it.
Yeah, I think it's especially noticeable when you're flying in like watery areas because your camera's always looking down then.
Okay, I haven't flown much at night, so I don't know. But I've noticed it mostly in the coastlands. I've noticed it mostly in the Mirelands.
It's even during the day though. If you're flying and you pass by the coast, you get this weird outline on your character.
Oh, like, on your character.
On your character. Fly along the coast and you'll see, like, you get this weird outline. It looks really funny.
I've seen that exactly one time. I don't remember what sparked it, but I think it was in the village. And that happened to me. Man,
it sounds like the coastline is cursed. That's all that is. That's all it is.
I think the coastline... Oh, go ahead.
I don't know, I always want to be the voice of positivity because listen, it's good to like point it out, but I honestly don't personally pay attention to this at all. Where I'm like, I haven't everything you're saying. Maybe I've noticed, but it hasn't detracted from how much fun I'm having.
Oh, me neither. Yeah.
Okay.
It kind of was trying to give me epilepsy a little bit when it was doing the flickering, mostly in the Mirelands.
Okay.
That's the only time it distracted me though. Like for some reason it was especially bad at this one spot, and I just I had to look away from the TV because it was like literally hurting my eyes, and I wanted to keep playing, and I was like, dang, this really is kind of giving me a headache. But other than that, yeah, it really hasn't detracted, and I've seen it less and less the more I've gone through the game. So it's fine, and I think personally, I think the graphics are totally fine. Otherwise, obviously they have some issues. And like I said, we mentioned these specific things, but like when it comes to the graphics themselves, like the models, the environments, I think they mostly look fine.
The Pokemon are so good.
Oh, the Pokemon are the best part.
Yeah, I'm
So
very
good.
happy with the models in Pokemon. Absolutely.
The new models, or the updated models, I should say, and then the
Right.
updated animations, the new animations, so good, so good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even the trainers, like facial expressions, like
Yep.
that they have these different facial expressions, like such a wide array of them makes you like really feel for your character in a way that we've never really had in a Pokemon game.
Exactly.
Yes,
Totally
and they have a
agree,
bunch of
Kayla.
cool animations too. The character does, like the
Yep.
way they look around. If you go into like a cave, they'll look around in a different way, and then like they have different animation for different weather, different times of day.
When they're
things like
cold,
Yeah.
they like shake.
Got you.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, since we're talking about characters express. Oh, I'm sorry, Dusty. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, since we're talking about character expressions and whatnot, how do we feel about Pokemon finally adapting voice acting? Should it finally be done here?
I think it.
Please, yes.
Yeah. I'm tired of pressing A through the text boxes because just like Dusty, you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
I'm skipping through them, man. Well, not
I'm not.
probably like
Like,
60% skipping through
but
them.
I'm not taking it in. I don't feel like I'm in the middle of a high stakes battle. The cutscenes look good. The cutscenes
yes.
were enthralling. I enjoyed those. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about this, because for me, the way I'm thinking about like how difficult is it to implement voice acting? Is that going to be something that's going to take resources away from the graphics? Because I think I'd almost want the graphics to be, well, I don't know. It's like if there are a limited amount of resources and we have all these wants, how should we prioritize all of that?
So it doesn't have to be a limited resources thing. They could delegate a certain, amount of people to just doing that. It's not a very high. I mean, like you just hire someone who's good in audio. That's all you
true,
have to
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
They
the
have the
difficult-
money.
The difficult
That's
thing
true.
is having all the different languages appropriately, but like
yeah.
Yeah.
you
the
gotta do what you
localization.
gotta do.
They
you
have
know?
the money for it. They could just hire someone for each of the languages and do it like
And I
any
feel
other
like-
company does.
Yep.
For this game specifically, I think it would have made a huge improvement on it to have
Yes.
voice acting, because what they're doing, my back, I was an English major in college, and like I've looked a lot at like dialects, and what they're doing in this game is they're actually giving different dialects of English to different characters.
Lavington.
Yeah, exactly. Laventon, Komodo, they all have like different dialects of English. Even the different clans have different like dialects of English going on with the way that they're actually like written, and that doesn't come through unless you're like really paying attention to it. But if there was voice acting, I think that would come through so much more, that they're actually like implementing culture, like different cultures in the way that the characters speak, but it's not coming through enough because we don't have that voice acting.
Yeah, I didn't
Right,
even
so it's like that
realize.
missing piece. Yep.
Yeah.
Like imagine playing through Kalos and everyone's got the French accent.
Right.
Sword and
That's
Shield.
so cool.
Sword and Shield would have been a million times more enjoyable to hear everyone talk with the British accent.
With the British.
Yeah, it's just Cumberbatch does all the voices.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
that would have made up for the poor animations and the lack of graphical fidelity in Sword and Shield if they just had the English voice actors for all.
Yeah.
That would have been so great.
Yeah, I'm about to say, we're changing so much with Legends Arceus anyway. At some point, Game Freak has to put their foot down, like, yeah, let's just do voice acting, because Dusty, it will take up some amount of resources. I mean, it's work, so it will take some, but I don't think it'll be too much of a load on them to implement that.
Not at all. It wouldn't be a load on them at all. That you literally hire separate people for that.
Yep. Yeah.
Johnny, was it your video that I watched today where you spoke about that this game potentially took 5 years to develop?
Yeah, that was mine.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious about talking about that.
So I
5
think
years.
I think what happened with this game is they might have started. It's definitely, this is not set in stone. This is
This is a leak.
This
Oh,
is
it's headcanon.
Theory.
no. This is a theory just based on like some signs that may point to this, but I think more signs point to it having been more of a 3-year development that started when Nintendo brought them into their offices. But I think that there's a possibility this game did start development before they moved into the offices of Nintendo, and I think that might be part of the reason why they moved into the offices of Nintendo. Maybe Game Freak genuinely wanted to do something with this and either asked Nintendo or Nintendo saw that and held a handout, because we know Monolith Soft helped a lot with this game. And you can tell that this game has a lot of Pokemon assets in it. And I was, playing through the game, I was wondering, like, why are they using these outdated assets and sound effects and stuff when they're obviously trying to do something more next gen with this title? And I think it's because they had already started with these assets.
It's interesting.
In the game. But also, some things also point against that theory. Like, I'm pretty sure this is not the same engine that Game Freak uses in-house. I'm pretty sure this is Monolith Soft's engine that was used for the Xenoblade games as well as Breath of the Wild. So, it's conflicting ideas, but that is a possibility. It might be the case, because when I played through the game and realized just how long it was, on top of having so much quality and gameplay smoothness and polish in there, I was like, it could not. I don't know if it's possible to have made this in just 3 years, but it may have been possible just because of Monolith Soft. So I don't know.
Yeah, Monolith Soft is goated.
They are.
They're really good.
Yeah, like we can't downplay them, and especially if they did start with the same engine, then maybe that did give a jump start to where they could have done all this in 3 years, 2 to 3 years. So. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm following on. I like it.
Yeah, it was just a theory that I, for some reason, entertained earlier today. But the more I think about it, the more I think it's not plausible that it was made in 5 years, or that development was started before they moved into Nintendo's offices.
Yeah, I think a lot of things happened when they switched over to the Nintendo Switch. I think there was a lot of shifts that and sacrifices, compromises that had to be made.
With what?
With just a lot of the Pokemon games, like I don't know if this is a theory or if this is confirmed. I think there's data from Sword and Shield that there was an interview to suggest that Sword and Shield was started on the 3DS, and then that's something that was switched, that was ported over, whatever the term is, to the Nintendo Switch, and then that's maybe why Let's Go looks so much cleaner, because it was made natively for the Switch. And then this seems like another piece of the pie.
I don't think. Well, that's definitely not been confirmed. I have heard that theory.
It's confirmed.
Yeah, I have heard that theory. I think the reason people say that is because it's the same engine that they use for Sun and Moon in Sword and Shield, and it literally just looks like HD Sun and Moon with like a coat of watercolor paint over it, or whatever it's called, cell shaded paint over it.
Well, wouldn't that? I mean, I don't know how this works. So, like with an engine, don't they build it for a specific? I don't know. Will an engine have specific specs that are designed for specific uses? And if you're making an engine for the 3DS, like it's not gonna look good on a PC game.
Engines can be used for different platforms. For instance, Unity is used for all sorts of different platforms. Okay. So I'm assuming what happened was when they ported over their engine from a 3D to be used from the 3DS to be used for the Nintendo Switch, some adjustments had to be made, but like probably not much. Okay. Then again, maybe a lot of adjustments had to be made because that engine was very bad. So I don't know how well it was developed in the first place. But I'm glad they dumped it. This Legends is totally not made in that engine. There's no way.
That's interesting. Yeah. I'm curious to see how much of this is going to carry over to the next game that we get, or if we get DLC or whatever might be next.
Yeah, I'm curious too.
I really hope we get this type of game,
Yeah.
But with more Pokemon.
Yes, yeah. Or just like for the next generation. I don't necessarily need more Pokemon. We're getting DLC for this game. It's pretty much confirmed at this point, and it's going to bring us up to about 400 Pokemon, I believe. Right now it's at like 200 something. So it's about to double almost the amount of Pokemon in Legends.
Ooh. But where do we think that might be on the map?
That'll probably be either summer or their holiday release.
Oh no, I think you mean on the map of Hisui, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a couple clouded areas.
I meant the road map. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's a couple clouded areas on the map that might potentially.
I also wonder, like that lower strip of mountain range, like the Coronet Mountain range. I'm wondering if like there's a good gap there that they could include.
Yeah, there's a lot. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And there's also like, I mean, I don't know how much
battling.
of this is actually in the post game, so I haven't done the post game yet, so I'm not going to say anything. But like there is lots of clotted areas on the map, and there's lots of open areas on the map that I at least at my point have not been to. So it's possible that those will be the areas for the DLC. Either way, I'm excited for it. But
Yeah, it's fun.
really, the prospect.
hoping
Oh, go ahead.
I'm hoping that because, so right now with like 200-ish Pokemon, it's really not enough Pokemon to have a competitive scene with it, because everybody will just use the same Pokemon most of the times. You know, like some are just going to be better than others, and then it just comes down to luck.
But that always happens anyway, right?
That's called a meta.
No.
That's called a meta, yeah.
Yeah, but usually the meta has enough flexibility that like...
Oh, yeah, you're right. I see what you're saying, Kayla.
There's like a couple, like in Gen 1, everybody had the same team. Like if you were
Snorlax,
gonna-
Alakazam.
Exactly, like it was exactly the same team. So right now with only 200, it's gonna be, especially with like the lack of diversity in terms of like a lot of the stats and the way that it works, there isn't going to be a lot like of diverse teams. So in order to actually have competitive in this new format, which I really hope they do, they would need to increase the number of Pokemon and ideally like put in like abilities or something, you know. But having it go up to 400, that's when they could potentially introduce competitive.
I want to dispel a misconception real quick. The competitive scene and whatever its meta would be is not based on the number of Pokemon. If 240 Pokemon is not enough to have a varied meta, 400 is not going to be any better unless the game is balanced to have a varied meta. So you can have 240 Pokemon and have a balance made by the team to support a varied meta, or you can have 400 Pokemon and they either do the same or they balance it to where you still only have 2 or 3 overpowered Pokemon, so everyone's still going to have the same team. It has nothing to do with the numbers. Like I said, if you have 240 Pokemon, that should be, in theory, more than enough for a varied meta.
It's
way more than enough.
Given the number of types though, and the number of like Pokemon that evolve 3 times within the game.
Yeah.
I would say that, yeah, it's possible to have a varied meta with 200, but it's more likely if you double that number.
It's
something that I think about
not necessarily
that I really enjoyed in this game is that like you'll have a weaker Pokemon fighting an alpha, and your level 10 or 15 Pokemon will still do like 25% of the alpha's damage, which is something that does not, like, this game's all about like 2-hit battles, 2-turn battles.
Yeah.
In any other game, like, and I mean, I've been out of competitive for maybe like 5 years now, but the trend that I always see with VGC is like they prefer VGC because it's a quick format, and I think especially Sword and Shield with the 20-minute timer, I feel like they're really trying to limit how long battles are, and this is a huge step in that direction where these single player battles they're so incredibly quick. Everything gets one-shotted. It's crazy.
Yeah, I would love to see this move forward as a competitive somehow, whether it's in Legends or in the DLC or in a Gen 9 that adopts everything from Legends.
Yeah, and to Kayla's point, like historically, I always like 25% of the decks. I'm like, oh, those are just early game Pokemon that aren't designed to be very good or competitive because they're supposed to be just good in the early game for the RPG, right? So like Raticate, Beedrill. Actually, neither of those are in this game.
Well, we get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Automatically, you're like, those aren't going to be good. So I get what you're saying, Kayla. Yeah.
So that is true. That, you know, the 240.
I just caught an alpha licky.
Nice. But as I was saying.
Sorry.
Out of 240 Pokemon, sure, like, let's assume half of those are unusable because they're pre-evolutions or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's gonna be more than half though.
Is it actually?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because there are a lot of 3-stage evolutions. In this game specifically, there's a lot of 3-stage evolutions.
Well, how much variation do you want? Because, like, let's say even out of 240 Pokemon, let's say even 200, which is definitely an overstatement. 200 of them are unviable because they're pre-evolutions. And then the other 40 are all final evolutions. They could, at the very least, balance those 40 to have a very varied meta. 40 Pokemon, that's a lot. That's a lot of variants.
It's really not, though, when you look at how many Pokemon types there are and which types tend to be more used in terms of the moves that are available. So I think that
so that's what I'm saying. They could rebalance
enough.
it to where there's more viable moves per the typings. But they don't they don't do that because it's a lot. I mean, no matter how many Pokemon you throw into the game, that's a really hard thing to do. I honestly can't blame them for not having a good for really struggling to get varied metas no matter what the game, because no matter how many Pokemon they throw in, it takes a lot of thinking and a lot of different scenario making to even fathom how you could make that a varied meta. So if you throw 400 more Pokemon in, you still might very well still only have the same 10 viable Pokemon or so.
Yeah, it all starts with the Pokemon
likely,
themselves.
It's less likely for sure. You're right.
Yeah, and that's what I think will be needed for the competitive scene, is that like ability to choose ones that are outside of the box a little bit, because that's what makes competitive interesting.
I agree.
Yeah, of course.
Because there's so many slight variations. Well, I guess this is all got me thinking. I've kind of like, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, I've totally written off competitive in this game, mainly because there's no PvP. But then, yeah, actually that's really the only reason.
Yeah, that's the main reason.
And then it's like the main competitive scene, or I'm sorry, like the official tournaments are being held on Sword and Shield still. So I'm personally, even with DLC, like until DLC is announced, I'm really not giving. I don't know. It's like, but to me, there's like an in-game metagame, like
if this becomes the format. If this becomes the format for Gen 9, though, there will need to be a competitive scene for it. And so I'm just trying to think ahead of like, okay, how are they going to? Because I would love for this to be the format.
Yeah.
You know, this game is so amazing.
Yeah.
So like, I want it to be the format, but I'm thinking of the
format
competitive scene and what it'll do. You know.
Do you mean the battle format or the, or like the game
Everything.
itself?
Everything. Yeah. It's so good.
We want this to be a baseline, essentially. We don't want them to take back anything from this game. You know they will, but it's going to be much harder for them to do that now, because now it's part action game. And if you take away features from an action game that were previously there, it feels less satisfying to play, and it's way more noticeable. So if they take things away, it's going to be really bad on them from here on.
I think they're probably gonna, because actually I don't know. I think there's still time to be. We got to see how well the game sells, etc., etc. Yeah. Something I was thinking about is like, I cannot see my niece in 3 years, when she's like 6 or 7, playing a game like this. Maybe that's me not giving her enough credit, but like when I was 6 and I got into Pokemon, I could play the RPG, the turn-based. I played Red, Blue, and Yellow, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like they would want to have your main series generation game be your standard game. There's so many features that they can still bring into Gen 9, Gen 10, right? The main series, quote-unquote, main series games without the action elements. However, I do think it's highly important that there's still, like, this be a pillar of the Pokemon games. Like, I'd much prefer this as a remake, and they could do a remake in this style. Like, imagine Gen 5, the same exact Gen 5 story, but a game like this. Like, I don't know.
I wish.
There's lots of possibilities, but I don't think Pokemon will become an action-based game. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Well, part action, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen either. Unfortunately, I wish that they would take this and run with it for good, but they won't.
Yeah,
and for a lot of it's for the reasons you mentioned, like you said, like they still need to cater to those people who, can't play the action part, or can't play the action parts more so than
I've got friends who don't like action games. Like, it's not just my 6-year-old niece. I love her to death, but
Yeah, I know some people that the primary games that they play are just Pokemon, and they are not used to a moving camera, and they get motion sickness.
I'm not used.
Yep. So
the motion sickness is. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say the motion sickness from moving the camera in this game has to do more so with the graphics and the frame rate. But yeah.
Oh, that's a factor too, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dusty.
Yeah, like this game has also been a big adjustment for me. It's had me, this is one of the primary themes of what's been on my mind, is that this game has really made me reconsider what I do and don't like about Pokemon games. And I'm loving a lot of the action stuff. It's been an adjustment, but I really am loving all of the movement and all the real-time stuff. Shinies appear off screen. I have to, I have my game on right now, but I'm not listening to the. I'm not like
audio.
100. I'm not 100% engaged, which means I could be like missing out on things.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying those aspects, but there are a lot of things. I don't know. Like I'm a little afraid to open up Gen 6 to Shiny Hunt Go-Goat when that's what I want to do next, and I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna feel.
It's not gonna be as enjoyable now.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee
you
it.
experience a better system, so when you go back to the older games, it's like, oh, this feels rough, and that's kind of how I feel about random. That's kind of how I feel about random encounters. I love overworld encounters, and I cannot go. Bro, I just can't go back to the random encounters. Like it's like the Mount Moon syndrome. You walk everywhere, it's a freaking Zubat, and I just love overworld encounters now.
Going into BDSP after Sword and Shield and Let's Go was rough because of the random encounters. I just had to keep putting repels on because I'm like, this is not the wave anymore, guys. It's not.
All the repels.
I like how Pokemon Legends Arceus still incorporated some of the features that you would experience with random encounters without being random. So we do get swarmed by Zubats in a cave.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
There are Pokemon hiding in the tall grass. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
But it's in the overworld, which is why it's awesome.
So it's better.
Yeah.
Even when I played Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, the first Pokemon game on Switch, even that was a huge jump in visual quality. It was HD, right?
Yep.
It was 1080.
Yeah.
And going back to older games, even that was challenging. So I can't. I'm afraid to play any other Pokemon game. Maybe I'll just do a nice cleanse. I'll actually play through Silver version, and that'll be just this nice safe. I know that'll be fun. Yeah.
You can always count on Gen 2 to cleanse yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good old Gen 2.
Only play at night.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, so beautiful. All right, let's real quick. I just want to we're not going to talk about spoilers. I just want to get your opinions on how you feel about the story. I guess I can lead us in real quick.
Best Pokemon story ever. Oh, sorry.
It is. I'm with you, actually.
Yeah.
I think this is the best Pokemon story ever, especially in a mainline game. And
I love that it's a prequel and it sets so many things up that you see in the Sinnoh games.
Yeah, it's really epic to see some of the things happen and know that that's what they look like or something in the future. It's really cool. And I've noticed that the story has an escalation to it. It starts off okay, gets good, gets better, gets great towards the climax, and then I hear the post game is amazing. So I'm excited to see that. I actually really like the characters. I like the dialogue a lot. Again, it would have been better with voice acting, but it's fine by reading for me at least. I know a lot of people though that turns them off. So that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I like the story so far. What do you guys think?
Yeah, so for me, the bar for the story is not too high in Pokemon. So when something shatters that, it's like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And in this case, Legends Arceus really does feel like that for me. Before this, my favorite stories in Pokemon were Black and White with the story of N. Yes. And that was just beautifully written. Yes, I absolutely loved it. And Legends Arceus just really, I feel immersed in the story. I'm a part of the actions that goes on here. I have a role in the game and making things move, and I really, really enjoy that. And I didn't think this was possible. I'm literally feeling like a freaking 10-year-old when I'm in this story, and just I forget about everything else that's going on in the outside world, and I'm just locked in with Pokemon Legends Arceus, experiencing the story, experiencing all the new adventures with my Pokemon team, and I love it. The story is great, and I never thought I would say that for Game Freak. This story is great. Game Freak, you freaking did it. You freaking did it, guys. Goodness gracious.
What about you, Kayla?
I really like this game's story so much. I feel like it's got so much to offer. Like, for people who have been like following the lore from the beginning, there's just so much that connects to different things. There are characters who literally will say the same lines as somebody in the future says, and you're like, oh, that must be something they say a lot that their ancestor later repeats. You get to kind of see where different characters have come from and like what their ancestry is like. And then also I love like the message of it, like this whole idea of like trust and like learning to trust each other and learning to trust Pokemon and like like understanding that by building up relationships with others instead of like, you know, being adversaries, like, and learning to trust people who might be different from you is like how you survive, you know? And I love that so much.
Real quick, I actually want to point out that this is the first Pokemon game that, because I think all of them have that sort of message, but this is the first one that I actually understood the message or felt the message hit hard because we actually had to get trust on our side throughout the story. Whereas in like past Pokemon games, they're like, yeah, you have to befriend your Pokemon and trust your Pokemon, but then like we're just sending them out to battle in these like battles, and like there was no good story to go with it. Nothing that actually makes me feel like we built trust and bonds. But now in this game, like this is the first time that message actually hit home, because we actually had to build bonds and trust with our Pokemon, and we actually had to build trust and stuff with the townspeople and the people of the region. And you see it grow visually and you know,
and with the
gameplay-wise.
characters will start like I don't know, I actually started feeling like a connection with the NPCs.
Me too.
The main character.
Yeah.
I was like, this one's got my back. This is cool.
And the side quest characters. I felt connections to the side quest characters.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for veteran, but like, yeah, like there was something that happened after you do like all the nobles where I literally, like, the game changed and blocked something out. It's like you just like, there's this permanent change in the game for a good 5 hours or however long it took me to complete that arc. I think it was like overnight. Like I wasn't able to get out of that period until the next day, and I was worried because I was like, I need to do this in town, and I need to do this over there, and I need to, you know, like there were things that I needed to do, and I wasn't able to do them. So it felt like there was real consequences to whatever was going on.
I was
what, a Pokemon game with consequences?
I was literally tearing up at that part. Like, oh my gosh, it was so,
watching Boba Fett this morning.
I feel that. I felt that too when I got to that segment. I'm
gonna be up all night playing this game.
A lot of characters started showing their true colors, both good and bad, and I liked that because, like, again, it's part of trusting, is finding out people's true colors. And once we had that, that's when we were able to move forward with the plot in a way that becomes satisfying later. To you know, try to make things as good as possible after having seen everyone's true colors. You know, things like that.
One of the worst parts about Pokemon stories have always been just like watching, or I guess not watching, not being able to see the villain spiral into madness.
Right. It's like the story happens around you instead of you being a part of it. You doing the actions to make things happen. Yep, I know what you mean.
So that's been nice.
Yeah, in this game you see everything happen. Yeah.
I'm literally holding my hand over my mouth right now to not say any spoilers. Because, oh my gosh.
Taylor got the sweat on her forehead.
I'm like, you don't even know, guys. You don't even know. And I'm sure there's somebody who's watching this right now who's played the host game who's like right with me right now. Covering their mouths like, oh, you sweet summer children. Like,
give it another hour, another week and a half, and then we can do it.
We can
talk about it.
Sweet.
I'm just sitting here with one noble Pokemon beat, so I still have to experience all of that good stuff. Oh man!
Oh yeah, it gets better and better. It gets better and better the further you get into it. It's really good. I just want to point out, this is kind of a segue of sorts, that I saw this YouTube video as a review of Pokemon Legends, and it was this guy with over 1 million subscribers. And you can tell he didn't play the game while he was reviewing this game, but of course everyone's gonna listen to him and take his word as heart because he has over 1 million subscribers. And he said, talking about the music of all things, that it just sounds like a bunch of stray piano notes, just like Breath of the Wild. Can somebody tell him to just listen to even one track of this game and try to tell me that it sounds like stray piano notes like Breath of the Wild's soundtrack.
Was he playing with the sound off?
Right?
Yeah, what this guy needs to do is put his headphones into his Switch and turn off that secondary piece of entertainment, whether it's an anime or a YouTube video, and focus on that freaking game. Because there's no freaking way this guy listens to the music.
No way.
I'm actually kind of mad. I'm mad.
I was livid. I was livid.
I think I got some ideas who it is.
And people in the comments were like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking of getting the game, but now I'm not going to because I think you really opened my eyes to all the flaws." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, that's.
Oh my gosh, it was painful.
The soundtrack
I
is...
a YouTuber so I can put a dislike on his video.
Hold on, let me see if I can find them.
Because what the hell?
If you dislike, that'll actually boost the engagement and promote his video more.
Yeah,
maybe we keep him hidden.
Yeah.
But so I think Pokemon soundtracks have always been good, but they've also always been annoying because you just listen to it so much. At least for me, like I'll enjoy it when I'm playing through the game a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I get what you're saying.
But then I get to the point where I just shut it off completely. I've been humming these songs because I have to, because it actually incentivizes me to listen to the game audio. And it goes in, it goes out. Sometimes there's no music, sometimes there's a lot at different times of day.
Yes.
It's really dynamic, and I've been enjoying it a lot.
The thing is, the music is always melodic. I don't know where he got the idea that there's stray piano keys. Whether the music's going in and out or not, it's literally a melody with like layers and phases.
I think I heard a guitar at one point.
Yeah, I mean, there's like full-blown tracks that sound like they'd be right out of Sword and Shield, Gen 8.
All missing is like a Skyrim chant.
Oh my goodness.
I wonder.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
I'm trying to understand where that person was coming from. Like, were they thinking we were gonna get like traditional route music? Because that would be really annoying.
They got some though. Like there are tracks that literally sound like route music too. On top of this, just like there's every single track in the game at the very least sounds like a scenario song. So like something that would play at a story beat or something. Like, and then some of them full on are just like straight up route music from past games, like remixed together and stuff.
Yeah.
And like,
whoever that YouTuber was, he's the son of a biscuit eater, and he probably has a bunch of wax built up in his ear.
Oh yeah, he's got some waxy ears for sure.
Yeah. The first time I heard the Eternal Rift in Legends Arceus, I got goosebumps. I almost cried. That brought back so many memories.
The first time I heard the nighttime theme, I got goosebumps
it's
because
really
it starts off with like that epic like atmospheric track and then it goes into the melody. And I didn't realize that because that was one of the tracks that they played when they first revealed the game. And it was when they were first talking about Arceus in the first reveal of the game. And I had no idea it would be the nighttime track. I had no idea half these songs were actually just like tracks you hear out in the wild.
Just riffing the game.
Yeah, they're literally just like the music from the areas. And I thought they were scenario tracks because they sounded like they would be used for like important story beats. But no, they're like, that's how good the tracks are. They sound like they're all important tracks, but they're playing out in the overworld. It's really good.
Like certain ones, like I'll get excited and I look around because I think it's the music's trying to tell me that there's like like an alpha behind me or something.
Did you go away? What happened?
No, my thought was finished.
Oh.
You did a full stop, my brother.
Yeah.
That was a rough stop right there.
Oh my god.
We heard the skirt marks and everything.
Sorry, I saw a shiny. I just I logged off. I was like,
I see.
No,
okay,
no.
But yeah, so the music in this game is amazing. No one can say otherwise, and if they do, they got wax buildup in their ears for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
100%.
I'm really mad that guy said that. Like, I'm legit. I can't believe I'm really defending a Pokemon game, and I love it. I freaking love it, man.
I had to stop the video. I usually don't turn off videos that like are talking about their thoughts on a game, but I had to turn that off because he obviously had not played the game. All the things he was saying were so uninformed.
Johnny, can you give me a hint on who this guy was?
I don't remember who he was.
Offline. No, let's not talk about it. Offline.
Okay, offline.
I'll try and look for him later. I really honestly don't remember who he was because I was just so disgusted. I know another reviewer who said
he's talking about me.
I know another. Yeah.
No.
I know another reviewer who I saw who also has a lot of subs who was saying some stuff that were very uninformed about the game, mainly about like how the game has like really bad pop-in and how it was so bad that it took him out of the experience. But the same guy played Sword and Shield and did a review on Sword and Shield and did not talk about pop-in in that game. Where,
I know who this is.
Where the pop-in is so Blunty. This one was Blunty. I remember this one. I don't remember the name of the other guy, but this guy's name was Blunty.
I'm about to say, so far in my experience, I haven't really encountered
What
pop-in.
is this? A tea podcast? What are we doing?
Right? we got the tea.
Yeah.
No. Let's do this offline. I don't know. I'm getting uncomfortable.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's our thoughts on Pokemon Legends Arceus.
It's a good freaking game.
I'm having
Go
so
play
much
it.
fun. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it would even be worth getting back together in a week from now, because something I keep thinking about is like, okay, I'm having fun, but how long? Like, is this actually gonna last? Am I going
It's
to
the
be?
honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. Like, because
No.
it's a lot of change, which is good, but I don't know. Like, how long can this be sustained?
Yeah.
Hopefully forever.
I think it can last.
I agree.
I
Caleb.
definitely
agree.
think it can last.
Yeah.
I've been playing non-stop for like
me too.
days. It's
Oh, yeah.
so good.
My partner
it's-
and I were talking about this is a game that was gonna last for a lifetime. Like this is a great game. This is gonna go down just like Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, even
I hope so.
Red and Blue. Even though those games aren't that great in my opinion, but people love them.
No,
It's gonna
they're
go
good
down with
games.
all of these, you know.
Yeah.
It's
I
definitely the best Pokemon
Well-
game ever made so far, and that's from a technical perspective, from a story perspective, and from a gameplay perspective.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I've never considered a Pokemon game to be Game of the Year worthy, like ever in my life.
Me neither.
And
Yeah.
Pokemon Legends Arceus is the closest that I've ever felt like that. If the graphics were just a little bit better, then yeah, I'll probably put this in one of my Game of the Year games for this this year.
Yeah.
But
It might
that's how
win
I like
Game
it.
of the Year, honestly. It's going up
No,
against.
I don't think it will. Not Game of the Year.
What's it going up against?
It's going up
Golden
against.
Ring, Horizon Zero Dawn, the second one.
Kirby.
It has
there's
a lot.
Kirby. Yeah, it's a
It
lot.
has a lot of competition. It has Bayonetta
Lego
3.
Star Wars.
Yeah, it has.
Those games are funny.
I'm gonna label it in the order of like threat level. So like there's Bayonetta 3, and the only reason that threat level is low is because Bayonetta is a very not well-known franchise, unfortunately.
Right.
The next
Yeah.
would probably be Kirby and the Forgotten Land, because as beloved as that is, the game's usually, even though the game looks great, I don't know if it's going to be Game of the Year material. And then also Kirby's not that big of a Nintendo franchise. And then what's next on there? There was another one I was thinking of. Well, I'm just gonna go to Horizon Zero Dawn. Is
Yeah.
another big one
Yeah.
that's gonna be on there for the title. And then there's gonna be Elden Ring.
Yep.
Is definitely like top
That-
contender
That might
for
be
Game
my
of the
Game of the
Year.
Year.
And then Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be another
Oh,
huge
yeah.
contender.
That's gonna
Yeah.
be tough.
Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
2 and Elden Ring are going to be the biggest competition by
Right.
far.
By far.
Yeah.
And then we're not even talking about all the games that haven't even been announced yet. So
yeah,
it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
yeah.
But yeah, good effort on Legends Arceus to be in the conversation for the first time in my life.
It's in the
I'm
conversation,
happy.
yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
cool.
Yep.
And it might actually win just based on popularity. Pokemon is the biggest franchise
Oh,
or
yeah.
media
Imagine if it
franchise in
did.
the world.
So do you think if this game won an award, how much weight would that pull with their decision going forward?
Oh, it better pull a lot. So,
Right.
Yeah.
I think it would
Like,
make
do you think it
Nintendo.
actually would? I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
what if it
I
doesn't
think-
sell very well.
I think it would make Nintendo strong hand them a little more. I think it's gonna sell at least well enough to where they're gonna be like, not only did it have good sales, but it also won Game of the Year if it wins Game of the Year. You know?
Yeah, actually, Johnny, because you actually kind of put this bug in my head last week when you had said that you don't think the game's gonna sell very well. So maybe that's why I keep thinking it's not.
I
Gonna
never
sell
said
well.
it's not gonna sell
Yeah.
very well. I
No.
said it's not gonna sell as well as
Okay.
past titles, but
Sure,
only
sure.
because of the lack of double copies, the release
That would make
time.
a difference, though.
It
that,
does.
That does make a huge difference.
does make a
There's
huge
a lot
difference.
of games that they never really followed up on,
Yeah.
or yeah, I'm thinking of Black and White specifically.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's that. And then, but at the same time, this game will also, conversely, sell itself. People are going to see it and be like, dang, that looks fun.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
people's word of mouth saying that, yeah, this is the first fun Pokemon game in like 2 decades, guys. So
Yep.
like, there's that too, you know? So
Yeah.
it's going
I
to sell
thought-
itself at that point.
I saw random people like from high school just asking on Facebook, like, is it good? Should I get it? And like everybody in the comments saying,
Like,
yes, get it.
Yes, exactly.
So like, I think the word of mouth will get around.
Yeah, and I see things like people are like, there's a Pokemon game where you can drown. Guess I might have to get a Switch and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Things like that. So it's going to sell itself in that regard. I just don't know how much it's going to be hurt by the fact that this was not made as specifically a cash grab. And making games as a cash grab has worked so unbelievably well for them up until BDSP. Like even BDSP worked well as a cash grab. It's kind of insane.
And when you see when the game isn't focused on a cash grab mentality, like how good it can be, like they need to keep that going forward.
They should, effort. Right? But not every company has the ethics for that. So.
I'm very aware. EA, Activision.
And as good as this game is, and as promising as it is for us to look at a positive future for the franchise, you also have to take into account their past practices. And their past practices are some of the worst ethics I've ever seen in video game franchises.
Yeah.
Ever.
It might be the worst, now that I think about it.
It's up there with EA and
EA and Madden.
Ubisoft at one point was also really bad.
Right. Even though like the skeleton of Pokemon games haven't really changed that much, I do think that Pokemon is pretty keen to like lean into things that either do work and stray away from things that don't do well. And I'm curious.
I don't know. They got rid of Megas real fast.
They got rid of Battle Frontier.
They got rid of Battle Frontier and Megas, which were two really good things that were in well-selling games. So
yeah, that's fair. So like if
they literally said
and follow Pokemon.
All right, I'm about to cry.
That's pretty good. So we were talking about like game engines. How easy is it for them to reuse these assets or make another game, improve a game, or whatever they built in this engine?
Because they have the skeleton.
Like what would
built.
The turnover? Yeah.
So the turnover is going to be much easier. If the best example I can tell of this, and I think the only one here who won't get it is Kayla, is the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Yes.
So you
that's beautiful.
Take Ocarina of Time, for example. Most of the time, or a lot of their time spent on making that game was to make the engine and make the game's assets and things like that, right? Majora's Mask came out, I think it was less than a year later.
Yep.
And that's because they made an entirely new game using the same assets and same engine, and they even added in some new assets and stuff to it.
And they updated a few textures, and then that was it. They made an entirely new game, and it was freaking awesome.
Yep, and it did noticeably look better. So like they could do that with this. That's what they're doing with Breath of the Wild 2. That's what a lot of game studios do with their engines to make their sequels and things like that. So they could very easily take this and make something better with it. But we had an interview recently where, of course, Amori, our favorite person, alongside Masuda, came out and was like, he said apparently every Pokemon project is made from scratch with new teams of people, and they usually give new games to newbies to make. So Sword and Shield, he tried to like pawn off Sword and Shield onto like the new members of the team at the time. He was like, yeah, we gave the game to the new members of the team, and it showed that. and it's like, but you do that with every release, and now you're going to try to pawn that off on them. No, that was definitely just your bad decision making and stuff. But I'm scared that they're going to try to continue doing that when they already have at least a good engine for making Pokemon games. It at least works very smooth. If they could just make better assets for it and improve the graphics and polish, which they could totally do from here on out, they could literally use the same exact framework and just make a better game in honestly less than a year if they really put their minds to it. But we don't know if they're gonna do that, honestly. I have no idea.
I think it's common in the Pokemon community for people to be like, to just like cling on to patterns with all sorts of different things. And like, we're even doing that today. We're like, historically they've done this. I'm starting to think, I mean, this Switch era has been really different. I'm hoping that things are truly changing for the better.
I hope so, because this has been the Switch era, as you said, it's been changing, but the Switch era has been the best way I can place it is the Switch era for Pokemon has been a mess. It's been everywhere.
It's
I
been
think
it's been on every end of the spectrum at this point.
I think they've like largely been trying to figure out too how to incorporate Pokemon Go in it because Pokemon Go was so successful.
Yes.
So like you see, Let's Go is obviously that, and then this is kind of like it's like Pokemon Go because you're throwing the Pokeballs.
Yes.
So like
that's something I wanted to say earlier. Yeah, absolutely.
They're trying to bring in that audience because the Pokemon Go audience is huge. Even nowadays, there's still quite a few people playing. Yeah. So.
And I think
they're even clinging on to shinies. Like I really think this game it's like a lot easier to get shinies.
They're going into shinies.
There's a guy in my Discord server. He got like back to back shinies like 7, I think, in like 3 hours.
Yeah,
crazy.
He has a whole team now.
Those are from the hell? Yeah, I got a lot now. Those are from the outbreaks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool. So we'll see. This could be another one-off thing like Let's Go, but who knows?
I hope not, because unlike Let's Go, this is a good game. So I hope this is not a one-off.
Maybe Let's Go was created. I don't know. I guess I have to consider the development cycle of these things, but I see this as in a weird way, a continuation of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, like Kayla was saying, was to appeal to the Pokemon Go audience, and this really is a catching game. It's so much fun to catch. Battling is just tacked on. It's not tacked on, but it's a
fallback.
Like
it's melded together. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's like a last resort type of thing now.
Yeah, because they very well could have made this game where there's no battling and you just catch. That's probably how the game started. It was like, what if there's a region where you just catch everything and you can get beat up? And then they're like, well, but then we gotta use our Pokemon.
That idea pitch, though. I love it.
Right?
Yeah.
Pokemon gun. That's all.
So
that's all you need.
I guess
I can't wait for that.
A good closing statement would be that the Pokemon Switch era has been all over the place. It's seen every end of the spectrum, from high quality to low quality, from action-packed to non-action-packed, from good graphics to bad graphics. And in my opinion, Pokemon Legends Arceus is the best blend of everything together. It's got elements of new Pokemon Snap, which was one of the better titles. It's got elements of the best parts of Sword and Shield and Let's Go. It's got elements of Mystery Dungeon. It's got elements of all these things. And I really hope that they finally found a focus, because it seems like they were really trying with the Switch era to find where Pokemon fits in the grand scheme of things with Nintendo, with their future of the Pokemon franchise itself. And I think Legends is the perfect conglomerate of finding the best things of all of those and melding it into one, and it's what they should honestly continue with, at least as a main focus going on, and I hope that they do.
I hope you're right, Johnny.
I hope I am too. Anyways, I have been joined here by Dusty Go-Goat, Kayla's Capsule, and Veteran X Gaming. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing us all talk. Their links will be in the description. Follow them and subscribe to them, as well as subscribe to me if you aren't already. But I assume at this point, if you made it to this part of the video, you're probably subscribed to me. And then afterwards, we can all talk in all of our comment section, and we can have a dandy old time with Pokemon.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Go play Pokemon Legends Arceus. Do it.
Absolutely.
Just do it.
Absolutely. The better this game does sales-wise and all, the better for us all in the long run. It's so
I might
fun.
buy 2 copies.
I was thinking of doing that too. I almost got it digital before it even releases. Or before, like, I went to the launch event and then I was gonna get it physical.
When all my friends were Australian for a day, that was a weird time.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Everyone went on.
Maybe I'll get digital.
Everyone's heritage changed for a day.